Um, I did not do well from about third grade on to high school. I just didn't do well in classes, and I played soccer, and I was very, very good at soccer. So I think that kind of taught me, like, well, I might suck at school, but I have soccer. And I think something I would tell myself through nursing school was, well, I might suck at school, but I'm pretty compassionate and can relate with patients. I know what it's like to be sick and not have people believe you. And I definitely think there's a gap there in Western medicine. And I knew that I wanted to be that support for my patients. So I think just kind of like clinging to that and being good at that emotional aspect really kept pushing me through. Gosh, I mean, even studying for the NCLEX, I still feel like my studying habits evolve. But I think with dyslexia or any learning difference or even ADHD, people just have these conceptions about them, but it really is very nuanced to each individual. So for myself, when I'm reading text, I don't really switch letters, but I'll input words that aren't there or take words out. And I don't notice it unless I read it aloud. So oftentimes that's what I try to do still. So like even if I'm in the patient's chart in the hospital, I'll read stuff out loud. I'll talk to myself a lot because that's how I catch myself. But I think even with that too, I'm constantly like checking and rechecking. So that also helps me, I think, stay on top of things and not go through, med passes super fast because I'm like, okay, gotta make sure this is right. And as far as like ADHD, so I was told I've had ADHD my whole life when I was evaluated, and they didn't catch it until I was 30, 31. And help with that, I definitely did. I'm on medication for that, which was something I was very opposed to and I think a little snobbish about because, you grow up, I think, hearing about ADHD and it's always, oh, super hyper kids that just need to be disciplined. And then when you're diagnosed with it, you're like, oh, so that's why I do that. And it really doesn't have anything to do with not being disciplined. Yeah. My brain just works in a different way. And there's nothing wrong with that. Medication's definitely helpful. It's not a fix-all, cure-all. But that was very helpful for me. But yeah, I found medication, talking things aloud when I was studying. Sierra, who commented, she was a saving grace in nursing school. Thank you, Sierra. But she would make study guides and then she would send them to me because she could get through the study guides like typing them up so fast. Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm still like, on the first paragraph and this girl has finished like chapters of information. So she would send the study guides to me and then I would kind of just tailor them to what I wanted them to say, the key points. I would do the nursing.com videos and I would just go through those. And I tried to just write pointers or even draw pictures. Like Picmonic was really helpful when it came to, sometimes I just like copy their pictures and draw them. And I felt like drawing them helped it stick.
So do you have tips to study med-surg? I am struggling to pass. So what are some things that you did? I know you've been talking about it constantly, but anything specifically for med-surg other than the points that you talked about that you used to study?
So med-surg was, we had 2 med-surg classes. So those were definitely the classes. I don't know if you can see behind me, but all my nursing school books that I paid for that I barely opened.
Right. Why didn't you open your books, Ellie?
MedSearch was definitely one of those. I feel like I dove into nursing.com the most for MedSearch classes. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I would take my professor's PowerPoints, and then I would just go to the library and be like, okay, what topic is she talking about? And then I would plug it in the nursing.com, and I would just go over it that way.
So a lot of people might not know what nursing or who nursing.com is. So, you may know that.
It's this phenomenal website that you definitely need to get, and I'm not being paid to say this.
Wow. Nor did we go over this at all, but thank you.
You can ask Sierra, she's still on here, how much I talked about nursing.com through nursing school all the time.
I need to hire you then.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
But it's basically, they have videos of the topics, like nursing school topics, and the classes. They're broken down by classes and then topics, and they're short. Hello, if you have ADHD or learning differences and you don't really like to pay attention for a long time, this is your jam. They're nice and short, and they get to the key points of the information. So I'm sure, like, those MedSearch books, they're like 5 quadrillion pages. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm like, listen, I have dyslexia and ADHD. We're going to have to make this work some other way. What is the workaround here? Nursing.com. They also have, you guys have like cheat sheets, like all kinds of fun stuff that
Sierra says all the time. Sorry.
Just stuff that really, I feel like, helps the information stick. And you might be one of those people that can go to lecture and just absorb the information. I knew people like that in my nursing program.
Yeah.
If you are like that, God bless you, but that is not me.